For joining our session. Happy Navaratri Vijayadashami, happy Dasara, happy day for you all. So we got a speaker, well-known speaker, everybody knows. Nandanaji is joined with us. I think we better start straight away rather wasting time. I'm passing on to Nandanaji. Upadhyay, are you there, brother?
Yeah. We are very fortunate during this Navratri time and blessed by Swami to have such a wonderful seeker and speaker with us. Without any delay, I think we should give the platform. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And Yarushka, Ramana, Madan, and everyone, whoever it is controlling, please make Nandana ji to let her share her screen because she's going to start with some slokas.
I think, can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I just picked 3 verses. One is a Vedic mantra, which is the Durga Gayatri, and the others are the other 2 are picked from a very famous prayer from a book called Devi Mahatmyam or Chandi Part. Most of you will be knowing these, but I've just picked 2 of them, very important aspects of Devi. Everybody at home can also join in the chanting. I'll first begin with our invocation of Lord Ganesha and opening traditional prayers. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Katyayanaaya Vidmahe Kanyakumari Dhimahi Tanno Durgif Prachodayat. Om Katyayanaaya Vidmahe Kanyakumari Dhimahi Tanno Durgif Prachodayat. Om Katyayanaaya Vidmahe Kanyakumari Dhimahi Tanno Durgif Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Buddhirupena Samstita Namastasyai 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 Namo Namaha. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Matrarupena Samstita Namastasyai 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 Namo Namaha. Namastasyai 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 Namo Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Is everybody able to hear me?
Yeah, probably you can put the volume up a bit or come closer or whatever.
Okay. This is this is the max. I'll speak as loud as I can.
No, that's fine now.
So today we're celebrating, in many areas of India, we're celebrating Vijayadashmi, which is the victory. Vijaya means victory. Dashmi, the 10 days. So the 10th day of victory. So as we all know, the 9 days which have gone by were called Navaratri, or the 9 days And these 9 days are for the goddess, for specifically for the female energy, for the Shakti that we call. So Navaratri is a time, I thought it would be very nice to speak to you all about the significance of Navaratri and also of Vijayadashmi, the spiritual significance, and also to take some teachings from Swami as well. What he has said about Navaratri, very beautiful teachings of Swami. So it is remembering Devi, or the female aspect of divinity in her various forms. And why do we remember her? Because of her victory over various demonic forces during these 9 days, and culminating in her victory on this 10th day, Vijayadashmi, over Mahishasura. That's why she's known as Mahishasura Mardini. Mahishasura, symbolic of the egoic self, the egotism that is exhibited by human beings, the victory of Devi over egotism, and her victory to preserve, restore, and protect Dharma. Very important, as the next topic is actually corollary of this Devi's victory. Dharma is very, Sanatana Dharma, protection is very, very necessary in our times. So this is one aspect of the celebration of Navaratri. The second, some people in the north celebrate as the end of Ram Leela, or the killing of Ravana, the 10-headed demon in Hinduism, by Lord Rama. So Lord Rama's victory over Ravana is another legend surrounding the festival of Navaratri. And so it is always, as you can see, it is always good over evil. So many, many festivals in the Hindu calendar are always this aspect of good over evil. And these 10 heads of Ravana, very interestingly, represent inner conflict, again connected with Dharma. Inner conflict, he doesn't have physically 10 heads. These are all heads that think differently. What happens, Shastra says, when one transgresses Dharma, goes against ethics, the values which pervade this whole universe in the form of conscience, what happens? We create split personality within ourselves. The thinker is one, the speaker is another, and the doer is totally different. So this is representative of Ravana. He knew what he was doing was the wrong action, going against Dharma. His thought, of course, conscience would tell him stealing somebody else's wife is not the correct thing to do, but his passion overpowers him. And this is why divinity has to come and destroy. And his inner conflict is the 10, represented by the 10 heads that he possesses. So these are the symbolic legends surrounding this Navaratri function. Swami says in his, I think this one is from the Satya Sai Speaks, volume 11, he says, and I will quote, "This Navaratri festival is observed by contemplating on God for 10 days, cleansing oneself of all the impurities to experience divinity within. And this Navaratri festival should be used as an occasion to examine one's own nature. Is it human? Is it animal? Is it demonic? And I strive to transform myself from the animal nature into human and to divinize the human nature. Wisdom cannot be acquired from outside. It has to be got through inward sadhana." This is what Swami has said about the Navaratri festival. This in Indians, this festival, Navaratri festival, has been celebrated from ancient times. And as I said, it is invoking Bhagavan, the one Lord, consciousness in the form of the Divine Mother, the aspect of the Divine Mother. And the Supreme Shakti manifests herself in 3 forms. We call those 3 forms Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati. They are 3 powers actually that are manifest. What is Durga's power? The first 3 days of Navaratri, goddess Durga is worshipped. She is the energy for any pursuit, physical, mental, and spiritual energy behind any of the pursuit. She is the goddess that bestows that power upon a human being. What does goddess Lakshmi bestow? She is the one, goddess of wealth. But we're not just talking about material wealth. Whenever we say the word wealth, we always think material wealth, money, power, all of that. But she is not just money and power. She is representative of all forms of wealth, the inner wealth, intellectual wealth, wealth of character, Health is also wealth. So Goddess Lakshmi is the one who has the power to bestow all these qualities upon a human being. And then the last one, the goddess who is worshipped, is Goddess Saraswati. She is the goddess of intelligence, of knowledge. She gives the capacity to the mind, to the intellect, to be able to inquire, for discerning between what is harmful in one's life and what is good, beneficial for one to do. So she is the one of intelligence. And the last 3 days of Navaratri, Goddess Saraswati is worshipped. So in many parts of India today, they will be doing Saraswati Puja. Some of you may have joined the puja yesterday that I did in the morning, the Saraswati Puja, where all the books, musical instruments, very beautifully, symbolically, they're all kept at the altar. And Goddess Saraswati's blessings are invoked for your success in all the musical arts, performing arts, and even your studies. So especially for children, this is a wonderful symbolic gesture prayer that every Navaratri, on the Navami day, Saraswati is worshipped. So this is the symbolism of the 3 deities. I'm going to go into esoteric symbolism as well, because it is very, very deep and profound, actually, this day. Vijay Dashami, as I said, Vijay Dashami is really, it means victory, and Dashami means the 10th. So 10th day of victory, as I said, it is the culmination of the victory of a good over evil. Swami says this very succinctly in his Prema Vahini when he talks about Vijayadashmi festival. He says, men are prone to exhibit passionate or rajasic qualities. This rajas is a quality of great activity, of passion. It is disturbing actually for the mind to have too much rajas. Some rajas is necessary in our life to make us active, to be active in the world. Definitely it is better than tamas, which is the quality of inertia and apathy, which keeps us not doing any activity at all. Rajas is in fact considered better. But too much rajas is what? Too much rajas, Swami says, qualities like anger and hatred and very, very strong emotions are invoked with too much rajas in the mind. And Swami says they are the menacing manifestations of Goddess Durga. It's very beautiful, actually, that he says even those are manifestations of the goddess. All for us, everything, the positive, the negative, everything is Bhagavan for us. So this Swami has said the menacing aspects, manifestations of Goddess Durga, those menacing aspects, we pray to Goddess Durga to reduce her menacing, terrifying form in the form which manifests as power of anger, of all these negative emotions in us. The pure qualities, Swami says, that arise in man, such as compassion, love, forbearance, sympathy, are derived from Goddess Lakshmi's Shakti energy. And extolling of divine in song and poetry and the pleasing vibrations produced by them indicate the power of Saraswati. Swami says, when people worship Durga, Lakshmi, and Saraswati externally in pictures or icons, they are giving physical forms to the subtle potencies that are within them. So this is very important. These are all just manifestations of subtle potencies which are in each one of us. And I'll explain those subtle potencies according to Shastra and according to what Swami has also said. Firstly, I'd like to say that, talk about a mother's love. So we all know mother's love is the greatest love, type of love we can experience on this planet. It is totally selfless. But at the same time, we find that mother's love can be likened to water, right? Sometimes it falls on us as rain, gentle rain, very, very, very harmless. The snowflakes also, it falls on us in these forms. But sometimes it can be like hailstones, great big hailstones. But it is still water. The love is still, the content is still love. In this way, the goddess also manifests. It is tough love. Durga gives tough love. The goddess Durga also has love for every child, but the child has to mature spiritually, has to mature emotionally. So she rids our lives through our life experiences, unpleasant experiences of pain, because only in pain can we grow. We cannot grow in pleasure. If life is full of pleasure constantly, 24/7, no human mind can grow. So it's only through pain that we grow. So she rids us of all negativity, thereby purifying us. But it is not easy to rid oneself of negativity. It is a very painful process. But Dashahara is what it signifies. Dashahara can also be seen as the one who steals away the 10 enemies of the human mind. Of course, we have many more enemies, but there are 10 enemies depicted here. The 10 enemies, the first one, karma. Karma is binding desire. Normal desires are fine. We don't worry about those desires that we can just immediately foo-foo some desires away. When fancies arise in my mind, I can say, no, I don't need that. But these are binding desires. What does that mean? These are desires where I'm attached to the fulfillment of that desire. If the desire doesn't get fulfilled, what happens? I become dejected, I become despondent, I become depressed. So these are known as binding desires, and they're a great enemy of man, actually. Bhagavan Krishna also says this in the Bhagavad Gita a lot. He brings this up. Krodha, also anger. From kama comes krodha. It is said in the Shastra that krodha is nothing but suppressed desires. Desires which have not been allowed to manifest, which have not been fulfilled. They express in a human being in the form of anger. And anything outside can trigger this anger, but it's already in you. What we do is we point the finger to outside and we say, you are the one who made me angry. You did this to me. No, what Shastra says, this anger is in the form of suppressed desire already in you, and it is only triggered by outside circumstances or people. Bhagavan says in the Bhagavad Gita, in 3rd chapter, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Kama Esha Krodha Eshaha, Rajo Guna Samudbhavaha, Mahashano Mahapapma, Vidyenam Iha Vairinam. This Kama and Krodha, he says, is born again of this quality of Rajas. And he says, this is what this passion transforms later into anger. Know this, O Arjuna. And of course, when he addresses Arjuna, he's addressing all of humanity. Know this to be harmful to you in your life. All devouring enemy in the world. It is not external enemy. The greatest enemy is karma and krodha in one's own mind. Bhagavan has said that in the Bhagavad Gita. So these two, Devi, we invoke her grace because she is the mother with tough love, destroying these through experiences in our life, whatever we're going through. The third enemy said in the scriptures is lobha, greed. Nothing is enough. The feeling that nothing is enough for me. Even if I get what I want, it's not enough. I want more, I want more, I want more. Because you want more to feel complete. It is not a fault of yours. If you realize the symptom, then you can immediately get the cure. It is because I feel incomplete. So that is why I keep hoarding. I always say this to some students that I've seen, how the garage, our garage in this country is full of stuff. It is hoarding, keeping things in, things that we don't really need. So this type of thing, this is a manifestation of lobha because you never feel things are enough. So to feel more complete, we have this quality of lobha that we have to slowly see the futility of. And again, Bhagavan says in the Bhagavad Gita in the 16th chapter, very beautiful verse, Trividham narakasyedam dwaram nashanam atmanaha kamah krodastato lobaha tasmadetat trayam tyajet. Give up these three, kama, krodha, and lobha he includes here in the 16th chapter, because these three are the gates leading to the hell of self-destruction. He actually uses the word naraka, which is hell. You create hell for yourself through entertaining these three qualities. So our life should be to reduce these three, kama, krodha, lobha, because he says, tyajet, trayam tyajet, get rid of these three in you, then life will become much more peaceful, much more enjoyable. The fourth enemy that is mentioned in the Shastra is mother. Mother is excessive pride or arrogance. No one is equal to me. So we see this in some, one character in particular always is an example for anything that Shastra says, which is Donald Trump. So this mother is very much there, that I am the one, this type of megalomania, narcissistic personality. Everybody is wrong. I am the only one who is correct. This pride leads to downfall. So that is what Shastra says. Beware of this type of thinking, that you are the only one who knows everything. You are the only one who can do anything, because without Bhagavan's grace, you cannot even lift a finger. That is the truth. That is what we have to bring in more and more. Mada is also something Devi destroys, Dashahara. Matsarya, another quality that we don't like to have, but unfortunately, this is very natural to every human being, which is jealousy. Jealousy is described in the Shastras, parotkarsham drishtva jayamana santapaha. It is a reaction of sorrow that is created in one's own mind. Why? Over a lack I perceive I have. Over a lack I perceive I have, but by seeing others possessing that which I think I don't have, that is called matsaryam in the Shastra. Very beautiful Sanskrit description. I feel I lack something. I see somebody else with that, and there is a sorrow created in me because of that sight of somebody else possessing it. So Devi is invoked to destroy this quality of jealousy. Instead of seeing somebody as superior to me, why cannot the mind see it is Bhagavan's vibhuti? Whatever qualities that person has, they are blessed by the Lord. They have earned it in this life. We've seen before in our previous talks, it is only karma that blesses us with everything we have. They are blessed with these qualities. How wonderful that Bhagavan has manifested himself in this vibhuti and moha is delusion. Delusion means the reality of the Lord is totally obscured for my mind. The worlds of objects and people becomes a one and only reality for me. So all delusion is something that, of course, the last remnants of Ajnanam, based in ignorance of what is the reality in fact. The reality is, Ishavasyam idam sarvam. There is only the Lord in this world. Ishavasyam. Only Bhagavan exists in this whole world. I have to see beyond the names and forms and functions and discover the truth that he alone is here. So moha, delusion, another thing that Devi helps to remove. Swartha, or self-interest. Self-interest meaning there is always an agenda for everything I do, an agenda for somebody. My needs alone matter. It does not matter what other people need. Swartha, my needs alone. So self-interest, another thing that Shastra says is detrimental to one's own spiritual growth. In fact, Oscar Wilde said very nicely, he's a very famous Irish writer. He says, he puts this in a very nice way. What is this swartha? He says, selfishness is not living in the way that you wish to live. Selfishness is demanding that others live in the way that you wish to live. It is a very wonderful sentence. Selfishness is not living the way you wish to live. You are welcome to live the way you wish to live, but demanding that others live in the way you wish to live is what is called swartha. This is what, again, another enemy of our mind. Anarjavam, another on the list. Anarjavam, number 8 on the list. Lack of integrity. Actually, we're going to see all of these when we study value of values in our Monday classes, whoever is going to come. But in the chapter 13, Bhagavan discusses some of these in more detail. But anarjavam means lack of integrity. What is lack of integrity? Lack of integrity means non-alignment of thought, word, and deed. So as I said, this non-alignment creates splits in a person. The thinker is one thing, the speaker is another thing, the doer is somebody totally different. You cannot survive like that. Ultimately, you will have a very disturbed, very conflicted mind. So anarjavam is another quality Devi helps you to get rid of. And amanatva is cruelty, inhumanity. cruelty. Some people have that. We don't know why. I know probably all the people in the group don't have such things because you've come to the spiritual fold, but finding joy in others' suffering, finding joy in others' pain, finding joy in others' loss, that is not a very good quality at all to have, because it is a form of himsa, cruelty. So Shastra says, try and overcome this. If you find your thoughts going in this area, try and overcome by bringing in more compassion, bringing in more love, bringing in all the qualities that we want. And the last dasha, the quality we do not want, is ahankara. Ahankara, very mistaken, misunderstood word. Ahankara is not ego only. We will see in the Shastra, it has a different sense. It is egotism. Egotism is the sense of ownership, that I, that mine, from I always comes mine. This is mine. So you claim ownership over everything. This is my family, my house, my people, everything my. When actually everything is given. It is given by the Lord. Everything you have become, everything you are in this moment has been given to you. Who put you in the right place at the right time to achieve any success you have gained in your life? It is Bhagwan's grace alone. We don't see that so much in our lives. Yes, I make effort. I have the ability to make effort. We'll see that. One of the esoteric representations of Devi is effort. But who gives the grace? Effort alone cannot equal success. Effort plus Devam, the unknown factor, Anugraha, Bhagwan's grace alone is equal to Siddhi or success. So these are the 10 enemies that Devi Dashahara in Dasara festival we ask, oh Lord, Devi, manifest in the, Bhagwan, manifest in the form of Devi. Please remove these 10 from my mind and my life. So on the esoteric level also, Devi is worshipped in 3 aspects, as we see, of Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati during these 9 days. But who are these in essence? Who are these 3 in reality? Swami says, these 3 forms have fascinated man. Their esoteric significance is represented by 3 potencies or shaktis. Durga, Lakshmi, and Saraswati have to be rightly understood. So who is Durga? Durga is the power of purposeful action. She is Kriya Shakti. You may have, if some of you know Lalita Sahasranamam or the 1000 names of Goddess Lalita, very beautiful shloka, stotram to learn. She is called there, Icha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti Swarupini. She is in the form of Kriya Shakti, Durga, the power of purposeful action. She drives you to act. She gives you the power to act. She is in the form of, Lakshmi is in the form of willpower, Icha Shakti. In every being, she's in the form of Icha Shakti, willpower. She drives the Jnanendriyas, the powers, the sense powers, the Icha Shakti behind the sense powers. So she is represented as the power of will, the power to will. And the power of discernment is Saraswati, Goddess Saraswati, who is Jnana Shakti. She is the goddess of the buddhi. She is the power of discrimination, discriminative analysis, to be able to see what is harmful and reject what is harmful from what is beneficial in life. I don't like to use the word good and bad. We should say what is harmful. There's nothing is bad in this creation. It is all Bhagavan's creation. What is harmful for me? What is good for me, beneficial for me? We should always understand it like that. So what we should do, Swami says in the same discourse, he said beautifully, convert this purposeful action in you, Kriya Shakti, convert the Kriya Shakti in you into a force for doing divine actions. So Durga is present in the form of dynamism, in the form of power to act in each one. How do we convert this into divine action? As Swami beautifully says, love all, serve all. That is divinizing all our actions. Very simple sentence, love all, serve all. That is all we need in life. Help others when needed. You don't need to help when help is not needed. Help others when needed. So this Kriya Shakti in one should go towards divinizing divine actions, Swami says. Then he says, convert your willpower, your Icha Shakti, into a yearning for God, for spiritual discovery. So your Ichcha Shakti, instead of desiring for things of the world, how should we use our Ichcha Shakti, the power that's bestowed on us? Ichcha Shakti represented by Goddess Lakshmi. How? So use the willpower. We need to willpower for any success in any form, in any field of life. You need willpower. So even for spiritual success, how much willpower you need for spiritual success? It is not ordinary success, spiritual success. If you think worldly success, being successful in any field in the world has taken a lot of effort, spiritual success takes 100 times more that effort. Why? Because you're going against your tendencies. You're going against all those habitual thinking in the mind. Everything you are doing tapas actually in spiritual life. What is spiritual sadhana? You're doing tapas. When the mind wants to go out, you're with using your willpower to bring it in, to withdraw it. When the senses want to go to the sense objects, you're bringing, especially during Navaratri, the fasting, all of this is for this particular Shakti to become strong in you. Lakshmi becomes strong when I stop my tongue going after the taste all the time. I eat what is necessary. I eat what, during these 9 days at least, many people will be fasting. I know Narendra Modi, great Prime Minister, great, all these years he's been fasting for Navaratri. All he has is lemon and water. All of these 9 days, what great willpower he has. Ichcha Shakti, see that. Everybody has the potential to have that Ichcha Shakti. That Ichcha Shakti is in every being. So one can discover this and use the willpower in the right direction for spiritual success. Swami says also, convert your power of discernment, convert this Jnana Shakti into the divine itself. So Saraswati is a manifestation of Jnana Shakti in every one of us. So it is using that Saraswati to remove the ignorance. You use that thirst for Jnanam is manifest through Saraswati in each one. Discover Jnanam, discover the truth of yourself and remove the self-ignorance. And that is the converting the power of discernment to discover the divinity itself. The divinity itself is not outside you anywhere. It is divinity within. That is the real discovery. Saraswati is also the power behind Vak. Vag Devi, she is known as Vag Devi. She gives you the flow of speech, the oration. That power also is very important. Communication can change, transform people's lives. That is why our Shastra is a communicating tradition. For thousands of years, it is a communicable knowledge. This Jnanam, Brahma Vidya is communicable. It is not only to be left in the books and left there to be read. It is communication that changes the minds. And our rishis knew that from thousands of years ago. So, Swami, just to sum up, the body, he says, indicates purposeful action. Kriya Shakti, represented by Goddess Durga. The mind is the repository of willpower. Ichcha Shakti, represented by Goddess Lakshmi. And the Buddhi, the intellect, is the power of discernment, is represented by Jnana Shakti, Goddess Saraswati. Swami goes on to say, purposeful action comes from the body, which is material. Very beautifully, he links all these three. He says in his Prema Vahini, purposeful action comes from the body, which is material. The power that activates the inert body and makes it vibrant is the willpower. The power that induces the vibrations of the willpower is the power of discernment, Jnana Shakti, which causes the radiation of energy. So you can see the radiation of the goddess within all of us. From Saraswati, she radiates to Ichcha Shakti, Lakshmi, who radiates to Kriya Shakti, Durga. How beautiful, all the three. Swami says, Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati dwell in each human heart. Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati are not separate from you. And what do we do with these powers? We surrender. All these powers are resting with the powerful. The powerful is Antaryami, the Lord in your heart. The manifestation of his powers are these Devis, but he is the powerful. So surrender, real surrender means to offer all these powers that are manifesting through you to him within you, the Lord within. Let him use them. Let him use the powers within each one to do his work. That is true surrender. That is what that significance of Navaratri is this, that you surrender all these powers to the Lord in your heart and let him do what he wants through you with the powers. And Swami, I just want to finish this particular section. Swami says in his divine discourse on 9th of October 1994, Navaratri, he says, the unfortunate predicament of man today is that he does not recognize the powers within him and develop respect for them. He goes after the external, attracted by physical forms. The relationship between the material and the subtle has to be understood. The remedy for man's life is contained within himself, but unfortunately, man seeks remedies from outside. This is very, very beautiful, because this everything you have, as I've explained now, according to also Swami's teachings, everything is within you. All the powers, the shaktis to do anything, accomplish anything in life is within you. So this Navaratri, especially Vijayadashmi, we look to those powers of Devis within us, not external to us, and channelize those powers in the correct direction. Channelize them to discover the ultimate goal of human existence, which we saw in the first session, moksha. The way all of life is geared towards this one thing, moksha, liberation. Liberation not from anything external, liberation for your mind, from its bondage, liberation from the feeling of smallness, of limitation, discovering yourself to be full and whole, to be the meaning of satisfaction. So I just wanted to finish with one more aspect of Navaratri that Swami has brought in. Prakriti, as we have seen, Prakriti is the nature. It is given a name, Prakriti, the nature. So he has said here, this Navaratri celebration is an occasion for revering nature, Prakriti, because it is a goddess also. Everything in nature is goddess. And considering how natural resources can be used properly in the best interest of mankind. This was said in 1992 itself, before all this climate change, everything came. Swami had already seen that this, humanity will face this problem of using too much, of too much consumption, and not giving back enough reverence for nature. Even in English language, we say Mother Nature. We don't say Father Nature. Nature is considered mother. Why? She gives selflessly all the time, sustaining our life on this planet. What do we do in return? That is what our Vedic culture is. It is all about being a contributor to society, being a contributor, not just a consumer. We have to go from consumerism to contribution. This is real growth. And he says here, Navaratri is a time for that contribution. Resources like water, air, power, and minerals should be used properly and not misused and wasted. Economy in the use of every natural resource is vital. You can make a start with your own individual lives. Pollution of the air has many harmful consequences. The inner significance of observances like Nagar Sankirtan, bhajans, all of the singing is to fill the atmosphere with sacred vibrations and holy thoughts. The inauguration of the Navaratri celebrations means that you should use this occasion, and this can be done next year. At least you know the significance of Navaratri should be used for offering worship to nature and resolving to make sacred use of all our natural resources given. Very beautiful understanding of Navaratri as well. So on all these levels, this festival is celebrated. Such a deep understanding we have in our Shastra, and very, very important also to understand these aspects of Navaratri. So I want to move on to the second topic, which actually flows from our Navaratri topic, where Devi destroys the negative forces in the world to establish what is good, what is useful, what is Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma, very beautiful word. And it is encapsulated by what Swami says in one of his sayings. Satya is what I teach. Dharma is the way I live. Shanti is a mark of my personality, and prema is my very nature. This is Swami's encapsulating what Sanatana Dharma is in essence. It actually means, he also says it is the divine mother of humanity. What is Sanatana Dharma? Sanatana Dharma is he says, the mother of all religions. It is all ethical codes and all the dharmas of this world. Bharat Desha is the home where this mother is born. The world in its entirety is the body of the Lord. And this Bharata Desha is this body's unique organ. What is this unique organ? It is the eyes. Without the eye, the body is not master of itself, is it not? So Bharata Desha has been blessed by two beautiful eyes. What are they? He says the Vedas and the Shastras. The two eyes of Bharata, Vedas and Shastras, and they look out to the whole world, not just limited to Bharata. On account of this, it can be declared without a doubt that the samskara attained by Bharatiyas are people who are dear to Sanatana Dharma. They're not limited to this Indian subcontinent. Anybody who adheres to the lifestyle, the view of Sanatana Dharma, view and way of life of Sanatana Dharma is called a Bharatiya. So it is Sanatana Dharma which teaches the truth of all religions and the tolerance of all religions. And it is the dharma of all mankind. This is Sanatana Dharma. This is what Swami lived during all his years here on earth. Physically, he embodied this Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana means literally in Sanskrit, eternal, timeless. It has always been, it is now, and it will always be. Nothing can destroy it. It is Sanatana. That is the meaning of Sanatana. The etymology of dharma is from the Sanskrit root dhr. Dhr means to sustain. Dharyate iti dharma. Dharma is what sustains everything in this universe. It is that which sustains everything. So Sanatana Dharma is that which sustains everything in this universe eternally. It is never, never dying. It is not something that is going, it is not something invented either. It is not something invented, something new. It is something discovered. There's a very big difference here. It already existed. It is discovered by people who live that type of lifestyle. So it is said also in our Shastra, Dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. You may have heard also Swami quote this. It is from the Veda, meaning whoever follows this Sanatana Dharma shall be protected themselves by this Dharma. As I said, it is a law. We have seen in our Purushartha Nishchaya, when we did the Purusharthas, the goals of all of humanity, we saw that Dharma is an eternal order. It is something that everybody knows intrinsically. And how do we know this? It is in the form of universal values. When we say values, universal, it means universal. Universal, every single being in humanity knows these values without being taught. That is intrinsic, born with it, the knowledge of values, universal values. It is what, again, all the values of goodness that we all humanity, generally, people transgress these values. There are exceptions, but they're going against what is universal. What is universal? Ahimsa paramo dharmaha. Non-injury, non-hurtfulness is the highest of all values. No being on this planet wants to be hurt. Even if you go near an insect and you try and kill it, it has a survival instinct. What does it do? It doesn't come to you, does it? It runs away. What does that mean? I do not want to get hurt. I do not want to get destroyed. Every human being also has that. Everything. And just as I do not want to get hurt, others also do not want to get hurt. This is the main foundation for the law of dharma, non-hurtfulness. So human values are based on this. And this is what I'm going to be taking on the Monday sessions, the value of values, discovering the value of values, why those values are useful to you, why they have to become a value to you. So Swami says, Sanatana Dharma is a central location in which all the various paths moving in different directions converge. Because as I said, all the universal paths, all the different paths converge where? In values. Every religion fundamentally, we're not saying about distortions, historical distortions are there. Fundamentally, no religion preaches destruction. No religion preaches violence. Every religion's foundation is ahimsa. It is the fundamental value. So he says here, followers of the different religions can practice this Sanatana Dharma. It is not Hinduism. It is a way of life. It is a view of life for whole of humanity. By being truthful in speech, by avoiding the qualities of jealousy and anger, always acting with a loving, kind heart. And throughout history, entire human history, the Lord has been teaching this same thing again and again. Every incarnation he comes, he will teach this. Bhagavad Gita also has this, throughout its verses, there is this line of ahimsa. And what does Bhagavan teach? That how one should develop oneself following this life of Sanatana Dharma, seeking the divine at the same time, developing yourself as a human being, growing. In order for what? It is not just without an aim. That self-development is for ultimately self-discovery. Self-maturity, self-development has to culminate in self-discovery. These are the teachings which are called Sanatana Dharma, the eternal law governing this universe. And I will just finish for questions with one more quote of Swami's, which is from his Prema Vahini. He says, in this religion, in this way of Sanatana Dharma, more than in any other, people have practiced lives of love, equality, tolerance, and gratitude. Hindus have earned their dharma through the discovery of philosophical principles and through the Vedas. They have drunk deep in the essence of Vedas, which are without beginning and without end. A land so holy is a veritable spiritual mine to the world. So Bharata Desha is a mine of Sanatana Dharma, the essence of all the principles in the Shastras, in the Vedas, and the Upanishads. And this is what is the life of Sanatana Dharma, a life led with values in mind, a life led in the ultimate pursuit of moksha, but living the ethical lives. And I want to just leave you with a verse from Bhagavad Gita, which describes the qualities of a wise person. Very beautiful verse in the 12th chapter, the chapter of Bhakti. Bhagavan says, Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitrah karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankaraha sukha samadukha sukhavashi. He says that the wise person is he who is incapable of any hatred towards a being, incapable of any type of hatred towards any other being, who is kind, compassionate, free from nirmama, free from this selfishness, nirahankara, free from this pride, and the same in pleasure and pain, the one who remains equanimous in pleasure and pain. And the last word is kshami, very beautiful word, the one who forgives. It is very important quality to develop. Part of our Sanatana Dharma, kshami, the one who forgives. So with that, I will leave it open for questions.
Saram, Nandanaji, what a wonderful speech, and on the right time, the right day, the time, very, very appropriate. This is open for the questions, and I ask Brother Upadhyay, you want to say something? Or?
Thank you very much. Nandanaji, you touched a very important aspect about Bharat and Dharma. There is unrighteousness all over the world, but more so in India in recent time. What is happening, probably you see, God has incarnated actually several times, 10 times in India, and all these Shakti Vedas has originated. Why there is a shift from righteousness to unrighteousness? So much hinsa, so much of violence people are doing. So can you just say what is there and is there is any hope for the world?
I think, I think because the priorities have shifted, and hopefully this COVID situation is reshifting many priorities. Sometimes things like this have to happen in the world for people to examine what is really, really important in life. India, yes, it is a, you know, it everything. It's a hot melting pot of everything, India. What can you say about India? It has the highest of all the philosophies. At the same time, it has the lowest of all corruption as well. Every, function in India. And that is because the Vedic type of lifestyle has been kind of neglected in that country by many of the leaders. And I don't want to get into politics here, but it has been neglected. It has been somehow forgotten, and that is reflecting in the population. There is a saying in Sanskrit, "Yatha Raja, Tata Praja." So how the rulers will be, the population will follow. And Bhagwan also says that in Bhagavad Gita. So it is the leadership that is, unfortunately, we've not had good leadership. But now slowly things are coming back in. It is also difficult because there is still a level of poverty there. So Artha Kama become predominant pursuits. You cannot tell a person who doesn't have food in their mouth, no, moksha is the goal. Artha Kama is not really the most important thing in life. You have to go for this. No, when your basic survival, Artha Kama will be, and that pressure to get Artha Kama, unfortunately, will make people transgress dharma. And that is what is happening in India. And I do feel there will be resurgence of Vedic values. I do feel it's already happening. And it is slowly, all of those, all of this, the structure has to be slowly changed. It's not going to happen overnight because there has been this structure for many, many years. But I feel there is a possibility. And I think when value is felt in the teaching, when value is felt in all of the ancient scriptures, then people will definitely lead their lives according to what has been prescribed in the Vedas.
Thank you very much. Beautifully explained.
Sairam, anyone else want to ask any question? Please come forward. In the meantime, I just want to ask a quick question. It's about Sanatana Dharma. It's eternal, it's there, but why it's been ignored, or it's only reflecting in the all other religions, or what's the base of religion? What happened? Why Sanatana Dharma is not followed properly, you think?
Because the value of like I said, our talk is going to be Swami Dayananda, he said very beautifully, a value only becomes valuable to you when the value of the value is known. A value becomes only valuable to you when the value of the value is known. If people don't know the value of the value, how will it become valuable to you? So it is only through education and through instruction to see what you lose by compromising values. When you go against dharma, our minds function many times on not what we gain. Sometimes you have to see what are you going to lose if you don't follow values. That is more important to see. Values, ethics are very much dependent on your mental state. Following this type of lifestyle, Sanatana Dharma, is very much, concomitant with peace of mind, how your mind is going to be, So by living this type of value for life, Sanatana Dharma, then a person learns to discover peace of mind. So that has to be seen. But because we don't believe in this, we don't believe in what is unseen, that is why we think we can do these actions, transgress dharma, get what we want, and that will be the end. But Shastra very clearly says for every action, you will have opposite equal reaction, but invisible result. That is what we talked about before. It is not just the visible result you get. You may get what you want by transgressing dharma, but there is an invisible result which goes into your karmic account, in your sanchita account. That is going to manifest in your life in the form of unpleasant experience for you. It is a law. Whether in this life or another life, the law of karma cannot be negated. So Sanatana Dharma, we cannot say why people don't follow, but what we have to do is follow for ourselves. Everyone has to see the value for themselves. I don't care what other people do. Let me not try and change the world. Let me change how I live, because I see the value in my life. My own spiritual growth, I see the value. So let me follow it for myself.
Thank you very much. Thanks. It's a good answer. Let us change ourselves first. I think on the chat box, someone put the hand. Nandan, I couldn't read properly. It looked like he's going to answer a question. Nandan Aneveka. Sorry for pronounce correct.
It's
Nandan.
that's yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yeah, I can see you now. Yes. Please ask the question.
Firstly, thank you for the wonderful speech. So I'm living in a foreign country, I think all of us are, and one of my concerns is with raising my son. And so with Sanatana Dharma, part of it we talk about ahimsa, but there is also a role for standing up for oneself, especially in the current climate where the leadership is not good. What sort of, how do we stand up for ourselves in such a community that has become so polarized? What are your thoughts on that?
So we have to, I think also these values, we have to know they're not absolute. Okay. So ahimsa, when we say ahimsa paramo dharmaha, and you are also a doctor, so you know certain cuts, right, to help the patient. That we can say, you know, oh, that's himsa, you're hurting the patient. But in fact, you hurt in order to help. So each value, himsa is also translated according to the situation and the time and place. So it is very important to see the whole picture in a particular situation. We never say become a doormat and get trampled on. That is not Shastra's teaching at all. It is, you have every right. You're part of this creation. You're part of Bhagwan's order. You have every right for self-defense. You have every right to protect yourself. But you should never do that hurting somebody else in the process. That is the whole idea. One should learn that one can legitimately follow one's goals. Why not? If you want to achieve something, we never say don't achieve. Shastra, in fact, gives you whole of Karma Kanda as what? The major part of Veda is for you to achieve your goals in life. So if Bhagavan has given the Veda, why is he given all that, all the, rituals and everything, pujas to get a son, to get rich, to get this, all these goals in life, he's given huge voluminous text to achieve all that. Then he says, no, don't go there, don't achieve all those. No. So we have every right to go for legitimate desires, to achieve what we want. We encourage the children to pursue education, to achieve in life, because it is only through that self-esteem and that self-worth grows. That's very important even spiritually. So once relatively the child learns to have that self-worth, self-esteem, and achieve everything, then it comes to see the limitations gradually of everything that is achieved. But you cannot force limitations on a child from the beginning. It has to grow in life. So only life is the greatest teacher. Everyone has to grow and go through life. And as Swami Satyasai often used to say, have a ceiling on your desires. He never said don't have desires, have a ceiling on your desires. Because Icha Shakti is desire. Now you know Lakshmi is sitting there in your heart in the form of Icha Shakti. So she's there, but manifest it in the right direction. Give the child the more and more of community spirit, more and more of contribution. Be a contributor in this world. Don't be only a consumer. Give. That is a beautiful way to bring up any children. And that is Sanatana Dharma.
Thank you. I hope that question is answered. There's another question Arunan is asking on the chat box. I think it's also related to bring up the child. I'll ask him to ask the question correctly. It's much better to have a first-hand listening from the same person. Aruna, brother Aruna, please ask the question yourself.
Om Saram, what is your advice for parenting and disciplining their children? Is beating children acceptable according to the Sanatana Dharma?
I think, I mean, we cannot say beating. Depends on what, one small slap here and there. I don't think to discipline a child. I personally, I don't feel it's wrong, because sometimes that works. But beating is a very strong word. So beating would be the last resort. I would not say any physical type of thing for the child definitely doesn't help, because mentally it affects the child. It is not the physical damage that's important. It's the mental damage, long-term mental damage that it creates in the child, which has to be seen. So we have to use other methods. I would say that type of punishment, in the long run, I don't think it will help the child very much.
Thank you, Saram.
Sairam, I think there's another question that came up. Brother Aputura, I think he's asking, I'll ask him to ask the question again. I think he's compared, because you compared the 10 heads of Ravana, and you compare to evil. I think the question comes from there. He's asking what's 9th evil and 10th evil. Can I, Brother Aputura, please come to the screen and you ask your question on your own.
Sairam.
Sairam.
Sairam. Actually, you have told the 10 evils, binding, desire, karma, krodha, lobha, like that. Okay, I have noted 8. 9th and 10th evil I am not able to.
Please come with the video, then ask the question. Hello, brother? I couldn't see you. Where are you? I'm sorry.
I think he just dropped.
Ah, okay. Sorry, I think he's trying to come with the video. He couldn't, I think. Okay. Sorry, you come up, please. When you are ready, please come there. Anyone else wants to ask a question? Okay. If somebody's putting a question in chat box, is
Hello.
Hello, yep.
Sairam.
Sairam Apuraj. Yeah, please ask the question.
Actually, I have, first of all, I would like to thank for this Dasara celebration, and you have told the valid things. I have noted till 8. The first one is binding, desire, karma, krodha, lopa, pride, jealousy, all these things. But what is the 9th and 10th evil?
We said kama, krodha, lobha, moda, mada, matsarya. Then I included I think it was swartha, which is selfishness, self-interest.
Swartha is 7th one. Swartham.
Yes. Yeah, swartha, the 7th one. So kama, krodha.
Yeah. Later you have told lack of integrity.
Mada, matsarya, 6. Matsarya is 6. Then moha.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, 6. Swartha. Then swartha, anarjavam. Anarjavam is integrity, lack of integrity, anarjavam. And then amanatva, which is cruelty. Amanatva, and the last one was ahankara.
Okay, Sairam, thank you.
Okay, Sairam, very much. I hope all the questions are answered. Okay, thank you very much, Nandanaji. We're going to have further from you. Thanks very much for agreeing to do a Shastra lessons on us. Thank you. Let me have this display. I got a question about this one also, because when I was discussing about doing this on Monday, you said you're going to do some stanzas from 13th chapter. But Swami says about when you describe about the Bhagavad Gita, he said is compared to the books of matches, who each like all slokas can have an impact on you when it strikes. That's what Swami says. So each are equally good. That's what each stanza, each slokas are equally good. It can be for everyone. Is different, I think. Why 13th chapter? What's the speciality? Why did you choose that slokas from there?
I thought that because the sessions we've been having, it is like natural flow dharma, values, all of that. There in the 13th chapter, Bhagavan discusses 20 values which are necessary for people to be eligible to actually discover the self. So it's qualifications in the Shastra. The qualifications for spiritual success are not like, you know, a BA or an MBA or PhD. We don't have qualifications like that. There are qualifications, certain qualities of the mind that one has to imbibe more and more. And in that particular chapter, Bhagavan discusses 20 such qualities. Of course, we cannot have them in absolute measure, but they're very beautifully explained by Bhagavan. And it is the beginning of actually the spiritual path to be actually working towards getting these qualities in my mind. And they're not just going to appear in my mind by magic. I have to work, I have to do make some effort. And that is why I thought I would take these qualities and describe how I can imbibe them from my life, how I can make my experiences in my life help me develop these qualities in the mind. So it is, you know, these qualities are applicable to everybody. Like the first one, I can say amanitvam, which is lack of arrogance, you know, boasting about what you have, lack of boasting. So one should, obviously we all know that we don't like people who boast and brag about what they've done, what they've got. Nobody likes such people. But you have to see, if you're that type of person, why is it detrimental to you to have that type of, you know, mind? So then that's why I took the 13th chapter, because it's actually the beginning of, you know, the spiritual path to be able to get those values.
Sairam, thank you very much. You explained very well. I hope now we can finish today's session. Thank you very much. And how are you going to finish? You going to put a song or slokas or what? Sorry, say it again. It's not coming up. The voice is not coming up. Okay, okay.
Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Satgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotir Gamaya, Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.